You talk too much. You announce your plans before executing them. You share your goals before achieving them. You divulge your intentions to anyone who will listen. And that talk is killing all your dreams. Every plan you reveal becomes vulnerable. Vulnerable to the doubt of others. Vulnerable to the sabotage of competitors. Vulnerable to premature satisfaction that makes completion unnecessary. The most successful people in history understood something you don't. Silence is a strategy. Invisibility is armor. The goals you protect are the goals you achieve. This audiobook will teach you the counterintuitive discipline of winning in silence, of building without telling, of achieving without announcing, of letting your results make so much noise that your words become unnecessary. Stop talking about what you're going to do. Start doing what no one knows you're doing. Chapter 1. Your mouth is your biggest enemy. You cannot stop talking. You announce every plan. You share every goal. You broadcast every intention to anyone who will listen. The moment you decide to do something, you feel compelled to tell the world about it. And this compulsion is destroying your ability to achieve anything meaningful. Your mouth has become your biggest enemy. Not your lack of talent. Not your lack of opportunity. Not your lack of resources. Your mouth. The relentless, uncontrolled sharing of plans that should remain private until they become results. Here is what you need to understand. You have been conditioned to share everything. Social media has trained you to announce, to post, to broadcast, to make your intentions visible before your achievements are real. Every platform rewards sharing. Every notification validates announcing. Every like and comment reinforces the behavior of talking about what you plan to do rather than simply doing it. You have been programmed to confuse announcement with progress. And this confusion is costing you everything. That is the key. Talking is not doing. Talking replaces doing. When you announce a goal, something happens in your brain. The announcement feels productive. The sharing feels like action. The validation feels like progress. But nothing has actually happened. You have moved your mouth. You have typed words. You have received responses. And the goal remains exactly where it was before you open your mouth. Untouched, unadvanced, unchanged. The talking created the illusion of progress while producing none of the reality. Think about your pattern. You decide to start a business. What happens next? You tell people. You announce your intentions. You share your plans. You post about your new direction. And then what? Often nothing. The announcement was the peak. The sharing was the climax. The validation was the reward. And having received the reward, the motivation to actually build the business diminishes. You got what you were really after, not the business. The recognition for having the intention to build a business. You have a choice. Continue talking and continue watching your goals dissolve into conversations that lead nowhere. Or learn to close your mouth and discover what becomes possible when your energy flows into execution rather than announcement. One path feels better immediately. The social reward of sharing is instant. The other path feels worse immediately. Silence provides no instant reward, but only one path produces results. And it is not the path of talking. Here is how speaking activates failure mechanisms. When you announce a goal, your brain receives partial satisfaction from the announcement itself. This is not opinion. This is psychology. Research has demonstrated that public commitment to a goal can reduce motivation to achieve it. The social recognition tricks the brain into feeling that something has been accomplished. The validation substitutes for achievement. You experience reward before earning it. And once reward has been experienced, the drive to earn it legitimately decreases. Consider what happens when you tell everyone you're going to write a book. They respond positively. They encourage you. They tell you how exciting that is. They treat you, momentarily, as someone who is writing a book. And your brain registers this treatment. Registers the social elevation. Registers the identity shift from non-writer to writer. But you have not written anything. You have only announced. And the brain does not distinguish clearly between the reward of announcement and the reward of achievement. Both feel like success. Both trigger satisfaction, but only one involves actually writing the book. That is the key. Your psychology punishes you for talking. Not immediately, not obviously, but mechanically, predictably. The satisfaction of announcement reduces the hunger that achievement requires. The recognition for intention replaces the recognition for completion. You feed yourself on plans while starving yourself of results. And you do this because talking feels productive when it is actually counterproductive. It is not about never speaking to anyone. It is not about complete isolation. It is about recognizing that announcement has costs, that sharing has consequences, that the compulsion to talk is not neutral. The compulsion to talk actively works against your ability to achieve. Once you see this clearly, once you understand the mechanism, you can begin to make different choices. You can begin to close your mouth and open your capacity for actual accomplishment. Here is the pattern of the successfully silent. They exist. They are real. They achieve enormous things while saying almost nothing about their plans. The entrepreneur who built in secret, working for years without announcing, without posting progress updates, without seeking validation for their intention, just building, just executing, just letting the work happen in darkness until the work was ready to stand in light. Consider the artist who created without announcing, producing work after work while telling no one about the portfolio being assembled. No social media documentation of the creative process. No sharing of works in progress. No announcement of the artistic direction being pursued. Just creation, just accumulation, just silent production of something that would eventually speak for itself. Consider the professional who advanced without broadcasting, moving from position to position, developing skills invisibly, building reputation through results rather than announcements. Their career progressed not through declared intentions, but through demonstrated achievements. No one knew their plans. Everyone eventually saw their results. You have a choice. Follow the pattern of announcers and remain in the endless cycle of shared intentions and unrealized goals. Or follow the pattern of the silent and discover what becomes possible when your mouth stops working against your hands. The announcers are everywhere. They are loud. They are visible. They are also, for the most part, not achieving what they announce. The silent are harder to see. They are not seeking your attention. They are too busy building to broadcast. And their results eventually announce themselves in ways their mouths never could. Here is what you must do. Recognize the compulsion to announce when it arises. Feel the urge to share and identify it for what it is. Not a productive instinct. Not a healthy impulse. An addiction that has been trained into you by platforms designed to maximize your sharing, not your achieving. The urge will feel natural. The urge will feel right. The urge is your enemy masquerading as your friend. When the urge arises, refuse it. Close your mouth. Put down the phone. Step away from the keyboard. Do not announce. Do not share. Do not broadcast. Let the intention remain private. Let the plans stay protected. Let the goal exist only in the space where you can actually work on it rather than the space where others can comment on it. Direct the energy elsewhere. The energy that would have gone into announcement must go somewhere. Direct it into execution. Direct it into action. Direct it into the actual work that the goal requires. The energy of a suppressed announcement is energy available for building. Use it. Every announcement you prevent is fuel redirected toward achievement. Track the difference. Notice what happens when you stop announcing and start doing. Notice the increased drive that comes from unsatisfied hunger for recognition. Notice the protected focus that comes from not managing external opinions. Notice the results that accumulate when energy flows into execution rather than leaking into conversation. The difference will be undeniable once you experience it. Your mouth has been your biggest enemy. It has been sabotaging your goals with every announcement. It has been stealing your motivation with every share. It has been feeding your need for recognition while starving your capacity for achievement. But you can change this. You can close your mouth. You can redirect your energy. You can join the silent builders who let their results speak for them. The talking stops now. The building begins now. Not the announced building. The actual building. The silent building that nobody knows about until it is complete. You understand now that your mouth is your biggest enemy. You see how talking replaces doing. You recognize the psychological trap of announcement. But understanding your enemy is only the beginning. You must also understand what happens to your plans when you reveal them. Every plan you share becomes vulnerable in ways you have not considered. Chapter 2. Every plan revealed is a plan endangered. The moment you reveal a plan, you have endangered it. Not slightly, not theoretically, concretely and immediately. The plan that existed safely in your mind is now exposed. Exposed to doubt, exposed to criticism, exposed to competition, exposed to sabotage, exposed to forces you cannot control and often cannot even see. You think sharing your plans is neutral. You think visibility costs nothing. But visibility costs everything. Every plan revealed is a plan endangered. And you've been revealing your plans constantly, wondering why they so rarely survive to become results. Here is what you need to understand. Secrecy is protection. Visibility is vulnerability. This is not paranoia. This is strategic reality. When your plan exists only in your mind, it is invulnerable to external attack. No one can doubt what they do not know. No one can criticize what they cannot see. No one can compete with what they are unaware of. No one can sabotage what they do not know exists. The secrecy itself is a fortress. The moment you speak, you open the gates, and you cannot control what enters. That is the key. What others do not know about your plans cannot be used against you. This principle operates in every domain of life. In business, in relationships, in personal development, in creative pursuits. Information about your intentions is power that others can use. Sometimes they use it consciously, sometimes unconsciously, sometimes with malice, sometimes with misguided helpfulness. But the effect is the same. Your revealed plan becomes subject to forces that hidden plans never face. Think about what happens when you share a business plan. You tell someone your idea. Now, they have information. Perhaps they are a friend who genuinely wishes you well. But even this friend has opinions, doubts, concerns. Perhaps they know someone who tried something similar and failed. Perhaps they have their own fears about entrepreneurship that they project onto your plan. Perhaps they simply cannot see what you see, and their confusion becomes your confusion. None of this could affect you if you had remained silent. All of it affects you because you spoke. Now consider less friendly recipients of your plans. The colleague who sees your advancement as a threat to their position. The competitor who benefits from knowing your direction. The person who claims to support you but secretly hopes you fail. These people exist. They exist in your life right now. And when you reveal your plans to them, even accidentally, even through mutual acquaintances, you arm them with information they can use against you. Not hypothetically, practically. You have a choice. Continue revealing plans and continue exposing them to every force that visibility invites. Or protect your plans through strategic silence and discover what happens when you're building proceeds without external interference. One path feels more social, more connected, more supported, but the support is often illusory while the interference is entirely real. The other path feels more isolated, but the isolation is protection. The loneliness is armor. Here is how the social dynamics of revealed plans actually work. When you share your plans, you invite opinions. This seems harmless. Opinions are just words. But opinions are not just words. Opinions are forces that shape your thinking. Opinions are influences that alter your confidence. Opinions are inputs that change your trajectory. And most opinions you receive will not help you. Most opinions will hurt you. Because most people cannot see what you're trying to build and cannot understand why you believe it is possible. Consider the accumulation of doubt. You share your plan with 10 people. 8 of them express some form of concern. Not hostility necessarily, just concern. Questions that imply doubt. Cautions that suggest skepticism. Warnings that communicate their belief that you might fail. 8 out of 10 interactions leave you slightly less certain than before. The plan that felt clear now feels clouded. The path that seemed obvious now seems questionable. The confidence you had is now contaminated with the accumulated concerns of people who are never going to help you build anyway. That is the key. Even well-meaning people project their own limitations onto your ambitions. They're not trying to hurt you. They genuinely believe they are helping. But they cannot help because they cannot see past their own constraints. Their failures become warnings they feel obligated to share. Their fears become cautions they feel compelled to offer. Their limitations become the ceiling they assume applies to you. And every well-meaning projection of limitation chips away at the belief your plan requires to survive. It is not about surrounding yourself with yes people. It is not about needing constant validation. It is about recognizing that most external input on your plans will be negative in effect, even when positive in intention. The mathematics are simple. Most people will not understand your vision. Most people will project their constraints. Most people will introduce doubt. Therefore, sharing with most people will introduce doubt. And doubt is poison to plans that require sustained belief to achieve. Here is the competitive reality you have been ignoring. In any environment where resources are limited, where positions are scarce, where success for you means less success for others, your plans are strategic information. What competitors know about your intentions can be countered. What they do not know cannot be. You have been giving away strategic advantage freely, telling people your direction so they can position against it, revealing your timeline so they can accelerate theirs, exposing your approach so they can undermine it or copy it. Consider the job seeker who announces they are pursuing a specific position. Now everyone knows, including others who might want that position but had not considered it until you made it visible, including people who might mention it to candidates more connected than you, including the person currently in that position who now knows you are coming for their role. The announcement created competition that silence would have avoided. Consider the entrepreneur who shares their business concept openly. Now the idea is in circulation. Others can develop it faster. Others can bring more resources. Others can position themselves in a market you just revealed you were targeting. The first mover advantage that secrecy provides has been surrendered for the social reward of discussing an exciting plan. You have a choice. Continue treating your plans as conversation topics and continue arming everyone with information about your intentions. Or treat your plans as strategic assets that deserve protection and discover the advantage that secrecy provides. The choice seems small. The consequences are enormous. Here is what strategic information asymmetry actually means. In any interaction where interests might diverge, information is power. What you know that others do not know is advantage. What others know about you that you did not choose to reveal is vulnerability. You have been creating vulnerability constantly, sharing information about your plans with people who have not earned access to that information, creating symmetry where asymmetry would serve you better. The successful understand this. They reveal selectively. They share strategically. They protect information about their intentions while gathering information about the intentions of others. This is not paranoia. This is intelligence. This is recognizing that you operate in environments where information matters and where revealing information unnecessarily creates disadvantage. Consider what this means for your plans. Every plan has information value. Information about what you are building. Information about where you are heading. Information about what you value and prioritize. Information about your timeline and resources. This information, in the wrong hands or even in neutral hands, can work against you. In your hands alone, it works only for you. That is the key. Secrecy is not weakness. Secrecy is strategy. The weak feel compelled to share. The weak need external validation so badly that they trade strategic advantage for social approval. The strong can remain silent. The strong can protect their plans until the plans have become results that no longer need protection. The strong understand that every plan revealed is a plan endangered and act accordingly. Here's what you must do. Stop treating your plans as conversation topics. Your plans are not entertainment for others. Your plans are not content for social media. Your plans are strategic assets that deserve protection. Treat them accordingly. Guard them accordingly. Reveal them only when revelation serves the plan rather than just serving your need for social engagement. Evaluate every potential recipient of plan information. Before you share, ask questions. Does this person need to know? Will this person's input actually help? Is this person's position such that knowing my plans could disadvantage me? Can I achieve my goal without this person knowing my intention? Often the answer is that sharing serves no strategic purpose. It serves only the social habit of talking about what you're doing. Default to silence. Make silence your standard operating procedure. Make revelation the exception that requires justification. Currently, you default to sharing and occasionally remain silent. Reverse this. Default to silence and share only when strategic analysis concludes that sharing serves the plan. You understand now that every plan revealed is endangered. You see the doubt that visibility invites. You recognize the competitive disadvantage that revelation creates. But there is another danger you have not fully considered. The psychological trap of premature satisfaction. The way announcement steals the hunger that achievement requires. Chapter 3. The Premature Satisfaction Trap. You have been feeding yourself on intentions and starving yourself of results. Every time you announce a goal, you receive something. Recognition, encouragement, validation. The social reward of being seen as someone with ambition, direction, purpose. And this reward feels good. This reward feels like progress. But this reward is a trap, a psychological mechanism that steals the very hunger your goals require to become real. You have been falling into this trap constantly. Announcing goals, receiving premature satisfaction, losing the drive that achievement demands, and wondering why your goals so rarely transform into results. Here is what you need to understand. When you announce a goal, your brain receives partial satisfaction from the announcement itself. This is not speculation. This is documented psychology. The social recognition of your intention creates a neurological response similar to the response you would get from actual achievement. You feel successful. You feel accomplished. You feel like someone who is doing something meaningful. But you have done nothing except talk. The feeling is a lie your brain tells you. A lie that costs you the motivation to make the feeling true through actual work. That is the key. Announcement steals the hunger that achievement requires. Achievement is difficult. Achievement requires sustained effort through discomfort. Achievement demands that you keep pushing when pushing is hard. This persistence requires motivation. This motivation requires hunger. The hunger of wanting something you do not yet have. The dissatisfaction of intention unfulfilled. But announcement satisfies that hunger prematurely. It feeds you before the meal is earned. And once fed, even partially, the drive to pursue the actual meal diminishes. Think about what happens when you announce a fitness goal. You tell people you're going to get in shape. They respond positively. They encourage you. They see you as someone committed to health. And your brain registers this. Registers the social elevation. Registers the identity shift from unfit to fitness-oriented. You have received recognition for the intention. You have been treated as someone pursuing health. But you have not done a single workout. You have not changed a single habit. You have simply talked. And the talking provided enough satisfaction to reduce the urgency of actual transformation. This mechanism explains why so many announced goals never materialize. Not because the goals were impossible. Not because the people were incapable, because the announcement provided enough reward to diminish the motivation for execution. The satisfaction that should come only from completion came early from declaration. And once the satisfaction arrived, the relentless drive that completion requires was no longer present. You have a choice. Continue announcing and continue experiencing premature satisfaction that steals your motivation. Or stop announcing and discover what happens when the only satisfaction available is the satisfaction of actual achievement. One path feels better immediately. The social reward of announcement is instant. The other path feels worse immediately. Silence provides no immediate reward, but only one path produces the hunger that results require. Here is how recognition hijacks motivation. Your brain evolved in environments where social status mattered enormously. Recognition from the tribe meant safety. Approval meant acceptance. The neurological machinery for processing social reward is ancient and powerful. When you announce a goal and receive positive responses, this machinery activates. Dopamine releases. Pleasure registers. Your brain marks the moment as successful, as rewarding, as something to seek again. But the machinery does not distinguish well between recognition for intention and recognition for achievement. Both trigger similar responses. Both feel like success. Both create the sensation of having accomplished something valuable. The brain that evolved to motivate you toward actual achievement is tricked by the social dynamics of modern announcement. It receives recognition for talking and processes it as recognition for doing. The wires are crossed, the signals are confused, and the result is premature satisfaction that undermines actual achievement. Consider what this means for your goal pursuit. Every announcement is a small withdrawal from your motivation account. Every positive response to your declared intention is a taste of the reward that should come only from completion. You are spending the currency of satisfaction before earning it. You are consuming the reward before deserving it. And when you arrive at the moment of actual work, the moment requiring sustained effort, you find your account depleted. The motivation that should be there has already been spent on announcements that felt productive but produced nothing. That is the key. You are tricking your own psychology into feeling completion before completion has occurred. This is not a moral failing. This is a mechanical reality. Your brain was not designed for environments where you could announce intentions to hundreds of people instantly. Your brain was designed for small groups where intentions were followed by immediate observable action. The gap between intention and action was small. The opportunity for premature satisfaction was limited. Now the gap can be infinite. You can announce and never act, and your brain will still provide some reward for the announcing. It is not about self-discipline in the traditional sense. It is about understanding the game you are playing and refusing to make moves that guarantee loss. Announcement is a losing move. It feels like a winning move. It provides immediate positive feedback, but the mechanics guarantee that it costs more than it provides. The satisfaction it gives is less than the motivation it takes. The trade is always negative, and you have been making this trade constantly. Here is how to restore productive hunger. The solution is straightforward but not easy. Stop announcing completely. Make your goals private. Keep your intentions to yourself. Allow no premature satisfaction to occur because you allow no premature recognition to occur. When the only recognition available is recognition for results, your brain will push you toward results. When talking provides no reward, only doing will satisfy the hunger. Consider what changes when you stop announcing. The goal exists only in your mind. No one knows about it. No one has encouraged you. No one has treated you as someone pursuing this ambition. The hunger remains intact. The dissatisfaction of unfulfilled intention remains present. The gap between where you are and where you want to be remains undiminished. This gap is uncomfortable. This dissatisfaction is unpleasant. But this discomfort is fuel. This dissatisfaction is drive. This gap is exactly what your achievement requires. The productive hunger feels like restlessness, like something incomplete, like an itch that can only be scratched through action. When you announce, you scratch the itch prematurely with recognition that is not earned. The itch diminishes, the drive decreases, but when you remain silent, the itch persists. The only way to relieve it is through actual progress, through real movement toward the goal, through execution that genuinely advances your position. This is the hunger that achievement requires. This is the fuel that announcement steals. You have a choice. Continue scratching the itch prematurely through announcement and continue wondering why your drive disappears before your goals materialize. Or preserve the itch through silence and discover the power of hunger that has nowhere to go except into action. The choice is simple. The execution is hard, because the urge to announce is strong and the reward is immediate. But immediate reward is exactly the problem. Immediate reward is what makes you feel full when you should feel hungry. Here is the protocol for eliminating premature satisfaction. First, recognize the urge to announce when it arises. The urge will come every time you set a meaningful goal. Every time you feel excited about a new direction, the urge to share will appear. Feel it, acknowledge it, and recognize it for what it is. The beginning of premature satisfaction. The first step toward stolen motivation. Second, redirect the energy. The urge to announce is energy. It wants to go somewhere. Do not try to suppress it entirely. Redirect it. Channel the energy that would go into talking into doing instead. Write the first page instead of announcing the book. Make the first call instead of announcing the business. Do the first workout instead of announcing the transformation. The energy finds an outlet either way. Choose the outlet that produces results rather than the outlet that produces recognition. Third, find satisfaction only in completion. Train your brain to associate reward only with results. When you complete a milestone, allow yourself satisfaction. When you announce an intention, allow yourself nothing. This training takes time. The neural pathways that reward announcement are well established, but new pathways can be built. New associations can be formed. Satisfaction can be relocated from declaration to achievement. Fourth, use the discomfort of unrewarded intention as fuel. The goal sits in your mind. No one knows. No recognition has arrived. The dissatisfaction of unfulfilled intention is present. Good. Use it. Let that dissatisfaction push you toward action. Let that discomfort drive you toward progress. The discomfort is not a problem to solve through announcement. The discomfort is a resource to harness through execution. You understand now the premature satisfaction trap. You see how announcement steals the hunger that achievement requires. You recognize the psychological mechanism that has been working against you. But there's another danger that silence protects you from. The contagious doubt of others that infects your belief and kills your plans. Chapter 4. Doubt is contagious and silence is your vaccine. Doubt spreads. It moves from person to person like a virus. It enters through conversation. It multiplies through repetition. It infects confidence and kills plans that would otherwise have survived. And you have been exposing yourself to this virus constantly. Every time you share your plans, you invite doubt into your mind. The doubt of others becomes your doubt. Their skepticism becomes your skepticism. Their limitations become ceilings you accept for yourself. You've been getting sick repeatedly. Infected by doubt you invited through the simple act of talking. And this infection has killed more of your plans than any external obstacle ever could. Here is what you need to understand. Doubt operates like a contagion. When you share your plans with someone who doubts, their doubt does not stay with them. It transfers to you through their tone of voice, through their questions, through their concerns, through the way they look at you when you explain what you intend to do. You walk away from the conversation carrying something you did not have before. Their doubt, inside your mind, multiplying, growing stronger. undermining the belief your plan requires to survive. That is the key. Every person you tell is a potential source of infection. Not because they are malicious. Most are not. Not because they want you to fail. Most do not. But because doubt is their natural response to plans they do not understand, to ambitions that exceed their own experience, to visions they cannot see because their eyes are not your eyes. They doubt because doubting is what people do when confronted with plans that seem uncertain to them. And when they doubt, their doubt becomes available to infect you. Think about a time you shared a plan and left the conversation less certain than you entered it. You were excited. You were clear. You knew what you wanted to do. Then you talked to someone. They asked questions. They raised concerns. They pointed out risks you had not considered. They mentioned someone else who tried something similar and failed. By the end of the conversation, your clarity had clouded. Your excitement had dampened. Your certainty had cracked. You caught their doubt, and their doubt began destroying what your belief had been building. This happens constantly. Every conversation about your plans is a potential infection event. Every person you tell is a potential carrier. Some carry mild strains that create only slight uncertainty. Others carry virulent strains that can devastate your confidence in a single interaction. You never know which strain you will encounter. You never know how severe the infection will be. The only way to guarantee immunity is to avoid exposure entirely. You have a choice. Continue exposing yourself to doubt through constant sharing and continue watching your plans die from infections you invited. Or protect yourself through silence and discover what happens when your belief remains uncontaminated. One path feels more connected, more social, more supported, but the support is often accompanied by doubt that costs more than the support provides. The other path feels more isolated, but the isolation is protection. The loneliness is immunity. Here is why people doubt your plans. The reasons are multiple and none of them require malice. First, they project their own limitations. What they cannot do, they assume you cannot do. What they have not achieved, they believe you will not achieve. Their experience defines their expectations, and their expectations become the doubt they project onto your plans. They are not trying to limit you. They simply cannot see beyond their own limits. Second, they fear your success will highlight their failures. This operates below conscious awareness. If you succeed at something they failed at or never attempted, your success becomes an implicit criticism of their choices. Some part of them wants you to fail because your failure validates their own limitations. This part expresses itself as concern, as caution, as doubt dressed in helpful clothing. Third, they genuinely believe they are helping by being realistic. In their mind, they're doing you a favor, saving you from disappointment, protecting you from wasted effort. They think pointing out problems is responsible. They think introducing doubt is caring. They do not realize that their realism is poison, that their protection is attack, that their caring is killing the very plans they think they are helping you refine. Fourth, they are jealous and disguise sabotage as concern. Not everyone wishes you well. Some people benefit from your failure. Some people feel threatened by your success. And these people will express doubt freely, dressed as friendly advice, as realistic assessment, as loving concern. The disguise is often perfect. The sabotage is often invisible. But the doubt infects just the same regardless of the intention behind it. That is the key. Regardless of why people doubt, the effect is the same. Their doubt becomes available to infect you. Their skepticism becomes a voice in your head. Their concerns become questions that undermine your clarity. The motivation matters little. The mechanism operates regardless of motivation. And the only way to prevent the mechanism from activating is to prevent the exposure that activates it. It is not about assuming everyone is against you. It is about recognizing that even people who are for you carry doubt that can infect you. Even supporters have limitations they will project. Even cheerleaders have concerns they will voice. Even the most positive people in your life will introduce uncertainty when you share plans they do not fully understand. The infection does not require enemies. The infection occurs through normal human interaction. And normal human interaction is precisely what you must limit when plans are vulnerable. Here is how silence functions as vaccine. When you keep your plans private, you cannot be exposed to the doubt of others. No one can question what they do not know about. No one can express concern over plans they have not heard. No one can project limitations onto ambitions they are unaware of. Your silence creates a barrier, a quarantine zone around your belief. The doubt exists out there. It cannot reach you in here. Your belief remains uncontaminated because contamination requires contact you have refused to make. Consider what this means for your plans. The plan exists in your mind. You believe it is possible. You see the path. You feel the potential. This belief is essential. Without it, you will not persist through the difficulties that any meaningful achievement requires. But belief is fragile. Belief can be destroyed by doubt far more easily than doubt can be destroyed by belief. The asymmetry favors doubt. Protecting belief requires protecting it from doubt. And protecting it from doubt requires silence. When your belief remains uncontaminated, everything becomes easier. Decisions are clearer because doubt is not clouding them. Action is more natural because uncertainty is not blocking it. Persistence is more sustainable because skepticism is not eroding it. The plan that seemed possible still seems possible because no one has told you it is impossible. The confidence you started with remains because no one has chipped away at it. Silence preserved what sharing would have destroyed. You have a choice. Continue exposing your plans to doubt and continue watching your belief erode with each conversation. Or protect your plans through silence and maintain the belief that achievement requires. The protection is simple. Stop talking. Stop sharing. Stop inviting infection. The execution is hard because the urge to share is strong and the connections feel important. But the connections are costing you. The sharing is expensive. The talking is buying infection with every word. Here is the protocol for maintaining immunity. First, identify the carriers in your life. Some people carry more doubt than others. Some people consistently leave you less certain than before. Some people have a pattern of introducing concerns that cloud your clarity. Know who these people are. Limit exposure to them, especially when plans are new and belief is fragile. Second, recognize infection when it occurs. After conversations about your plans, assess your state. Are you more certain or less? More motivated or less? More clear or less? If the conversation left you diminished, you were infected. Note the source. Note the mechanism. Learn to recognize the infection event so you can prevent future ones. Third, quarantine infected thoughts. When doubt enters, do not let it spread. Recognize it as foreign, as something that came from outside rather than from your own assessment. Challenge it. Question its source. Ask whether the doubt reflects reality or merely reflects the limitations of the person who gave it to you. The doubt may be legitimate. Often it is not. But even legitimate doubt deserves examination rather than automatic acceptance. Fourth, default to silence, especially when plans are young. New plans are most vulnerable. Belief has not yet been strengthened through early success. The vision has not yet been validated through initial progress. This is when doubt is most deadly. This is when infection is most likely to kill. Protect new plans through complete silence. Share nothing until the plan has developed enough strength to survive exposure. The doubt of others has been killing your plans. Not directly, not obviously, through infection that spreads so naturally you did not recognize it as infection. Through conversations that seemed supportive but left you weaker. Through connections that felt helpful but introduced doubt that destroyed. Silence is your vaccine. Silence prevents exposure. Silence maintains the immunity your belief requires. You understand now that doubt is contagious. You see how sharing invites infection. You recognize silence as your vaccine against the doubt of others. But silence provides more than just protection from doubt. Silence creates something positive. The power of mystery. The advantage of being unknowable. The freedom that comes when others cannot interfere because they do not know what you are building. Chapter 5. Let them wonder what you are building. When people do not know what you are doing, they cannot interfere with it. They cannot offer unsolicited advice. They cannot project their limitations. They cannot compete with your direction. They cannot sabotage your progress. They can only wonder. And their wondering creates space that knowing would eliminate. Space for you to build without interruption. Space for you to develop without interference. Space for you to pursue your vision without the constant noise of external opinion. Mystery is not weakness. Mystery is strategic advantage. Let them wonder what you are building. Their uncertainty is your freedom. Here is what you need to understand. When you are visible, you are constrained. Every eye on your process is a potential source of interference. Every observer has opinions they feel entitled to share. Every witness believes their input is valuable. Visibility invites engagement. Engagement often means unwanted involvement in decisions that should be yours alone. But when you're invisible, when your building happens in darkness, none of this occurs. No one can engage with what they cannot see. No one can interfere with what they do not know exists. That is the key. Mystery is freedom. Transparency is constraint. The modern world worships transparency. It tells you to share your journey, to document your process, to build in public. But this worship serves the audience, not the builder. The audience benefits from your transparency. They get content. They get insight. They get entertainment watching your struggle. But you pay the cost. You pay in interference. You pay in energy spent managing external input. You pay in freedom surrendered to observers who add nothing but feel entitled to involvement. Think about what happens when people know what you are building. They have opinions about your approach. They have suggestions about your direction. They have concerns about your timeline. They have comparisons to others who tried similar things. Every piece of knowledge they have about your project becomes a doorway through which they can enter and interfere. The more they know, the more doorways exist. The more doorways exist, the more interference occurs. Your building becomes a committee project even though you never invited a committee. Now consider what happens when people do not know what you're building. They have no opinions because they have no information. They have no suggestions because they do not know your direction. They have no concerns because they are unaware of your timeline. They have no comparisons because they do not know what you are attempting. Every doorway is closed. Every point of entry is sealed. Your building remains yours alone. Your decisions remain uncontaminated by input you never requested. You have a choice. Continue building in visibility and continue managing the interference that visibility guarantees. Or build in mystery and discover the freedom that comes when no one knows enough to interfere. One path feels more modern, more connected, more aligned with how things are supposedly done now. The other path feels secretive, isolated, perhaps even paranoid. But the secretive path produces results. The visible path produces content about results that often never materialize. Here is how curiosity serves you when you build in mystery. When people do not know what you are doing, they wonder. Their curiosity creates a specific dynamic that serves your interests. They watch with interest rather than interference. They wait to see rather than rush to judge. They hold their opinions because they have no information on which to base opinions. The wondering keeps them at a distance that serves your work. The mystery buys you time and space that revelation would eliminate. Consider the difference in energy. When you build visibly, you spend energy managing observers, explaining your choices, defending your decisions, addressing concerns, fielding suggestions, updating interested parties. This management is exhausting. It diverts resources from actual building. It fragments your focus between creation and communication. But when you build in mystery, no management is required. No explanations are expected. No updates are demanded. Your energy flows entirely into the work itself. Consider the difference in pressure. When you build visibly, you operate under observation. Every setback is witnessed. Every struggle is seen. Every failure is noted. The pressure of being watched affects your decisions. Makes you more conservative. Makes you less willing to experiment. Makes you optimize for appearance rather than outcome. But when you build in mystery, no observation occurs. Setbacks are private. Struggles are invisible. Failures are noted only by you. The freedom from observation allows bolder choices, allows more experimentation, allows optimization for results rather than for how the process looks. That is the key. Mystery provides freedom to build without the distortions that visibility creates. The building is truer, more authentic, more aligned with what you actually need to create rather than what looks good to observers. The finished product emerges from an undistorted process rather than from a process shaped by the pressure of being watched. It is not about hiding everything forever. It is about protecting the building phase, about recognizing that creation is vulnerable before it is complete, about understanding that interference during construction costs more than interference after completion. The building needs mystery. The finished product can handle visibility. The timing matters. Mystery during construction. Revelation after completion. Here is the reality you cannot entirely avoid. Not all building can be completely invisible. Some progress will be noticed. Some work will become visible despite your efforts. Some people will observe no matter how careful you are. Complete invisibility is often impossible. What matters is how you manage the visibility you cannot avoid. When visibility occurs, manage it through ambiguity. Allow people to see that something is happening without revealing what is happening. Let them observe activity without understanding purpose. Permit awareness of motion without clarity about direction. This strategic ambiguity satisfies their curiosity enough to prevent investigation while denying them the specific information that would enable interference. When asked directly, deflect without creating suspicion. Outright refusal to answer creates curiosity that can intensify investigation. Smooth deflection satisfies the question without providing real information. Vague answers that sound complete. General statements that seem specific. Acknowledgement that something is in progress without detail about what. These deflection techniques maintain mystery while managing the social dynamics of direct inquiry. When you cannot hide entirely, control the narrative. If some visibility is inevitable, determine what becomes visible. Choose what you reveal. Shape the perception. Provide information that satisfies curiosity in directions that do not endanger your actual plans. Let them think they know what you are building, while what you are actually building remains hidden behind what you have chosen to show. You have a choice. Accept that complete invisibility is impossible and manage visibility strategically. Or panic at every exposure and reveal more through your panic than you would through calm management. The strategic approach recognizes that some visibility is inevitable. It works with this reality rather than against it. It uses the tools of ambiguity, deflection, and narrative control to maintain as much mystery as possible given the constraints. Here is what mystery ultimately provides. Time. Time to build without interruption. Time to develop without interference. Time to refine without premature judgment. Time to complete without premature pressure to reveal. Every day your building remains mysterious is a day you work without external interference. Every week others wonder rather than know is a week you operate with freedom that knowledge would eliminate. Time is essential for building anything significant. Mystery buys you that time. Space. Space to make decisions that are yours alone. Space to change direction without explaining. Space to experiment without observers who would constrain experimentation. Space to pursue your vision rather than a compromise between your vision and the opinions of everyone who knows about it. Space is essential for authentic creation. Mystery provides that space. Power. Power that comes from information asymmetry. Power that derives from others not knowing what you know. Power that emerges when you can see them, but they cannot see you. Power that materializes when you can anticipate their responses because you know their position while they cannot anticipate yours because they do not know your position. Information is power. Mystery is information control. Mystery is power. Let them wonder. Let them speculate. Let them guess about what you are building. Their wondering costs you nothing. Their speculation provides you everything. The freedom, the time, the space, the power. All of it flows from their uncertainty about your plans. You understand now the power of mystery. You see how wondering serves you better than knowing serves them. You recognize that transparency constrains while mystery frees. But eventually, mystery must give way to visibility. Eventually, results emerge. And when they do, those results will speak with a volume that no plan could ever match. Chapter 6. Your results will speak louder than your plans. Plans are words. Results are proof. You have been speaking words when you should have been producing proof. You have been asking people to believe you when you should have been showing people what is already true. You have been seeking permission through announcement when you should have been creating facts through execution. And this confusion between words and proof has kept you small, has kept you explaining instead of demonstrating, has kept you asking for belief instead of commanding it through undeniable evidence. Your results will speak louder than your plans ever could, but only if you stop talking long enough to produce them. Here is what you need to understand. There is a hierarchy of communication. At the bottom are intentions, statements about what you plan to do, claims about your direction, promises about your future. These carry almost no weight. Anyone can have intentions. Anyone can announce plans. Anyone can make promises. The world is full of announced intentions that never became real. The currency of intention has been so inflated by overuse that it purchases almost nothing. Above intentions are efforts, evidence that you're working toward something, signs of activity and investment. These carry more weight than intentions alone. But efforts can still fail. Efforts can be misdirected. Efforts can produce nothing. Effort without result is common enough that it proves little except that you tried. At the top are results, completed achievements, finished products, accomplished goals. These cannot be doubted because they exist. These cannot be dismissed because they are real. These cannot be argued with because they are facts. Results end all debate. Results silence all doubt. Results speak with an authority that no amount of announced intention could ever match. That is the key. Results need no announcement. Results announce themselves. When you produce something real, something complete, something undeniable, you do not need to convince anyone of anything. The result does the convincing. The achievement does the persuading. The fact of its existence does the work that all your talking could never do. You have been doing the work of convincing through words when results would have convinced with no work required. Think about the difference in reception. You announce that you are going to write a book. Some people are interested. Some are skeptical. Some encourage you. Some doubt you. The announcement creates a mixed response because announcements are cheap. Everyone has heard countless book announcements that never became books. Your announcement carries no special weight because announcements carry no weight. Now consider a different scenario. You hand someone a completed book. You produced it. It exists. It is real. The response is entirely different. There is nothing to doubt because the book is in their hands. There is nothing to question because the evidence is undeniable. There is nothing to dismiss because the fact of the book's existence cannot be argued away. The book speaks. The book proves. The book accomplishes what 1,000 announcements could never accomplish. You have a choice. Continue communicating through announcements and continue receiving the weak response that announcements warrant. Or communicate through results and receive the powerful response that undeniable achievement commands. One path requires constant convincing, Constant explanation. Constant defense of intentions that have not yet materialized. The other path requires only completion. After completion, no convincing is needed. The result does all the work. Here is why results command what plans cannot. When you announce plans, you are asking people to believe you. You are requesting that they extend trust based on your words alone. You're seeking credibility on credit. And most people are reluctant to extend that credit because they have been burned before. They have believed announced intentions that never materialized. They have extended trust that was never justified. Their skepticism is not unreasonable. It is learned through experience with others who announced and never delivered. But when you reveal results, you are not asking for anything. You are not requesting belief. You are not seeking trust. You are presenting facts. The result exists independent of whether they believe in it. The achievement is real regardless of whether they extend trust. Their opinion of you becomes irrelevant because the result does not require their opinion to validate it. The power dynamic has shifted entirely. You are no longer requesting. You are demonstrating. Consider how this affects the doubters. When you announce plans, doubters have ammunition. They can point to uncertainty. They can cite statistics about failure. They can reference others who announced similar plans and failed. Their doubt has ground to stand on because nothing yet exists to contradict it. But when you present results, doubters have nothing. They can doubt what might happen. They cannot doubt what has already happened. They can question intentions. They cannot question completed achievements. The result removes the ground from under their doubt. That is the key. The doubters cannot doubt what exists. The critics cannot criticize what has already succeeded. The competitors cannot stop what is already done. Results arrive as facts that opinions cannot alter. This power is unavailable to announced plans, which arrive as claims that everyone can challenge. It is not about never speaking about your work. It is about timing. It is about understanding that speaking before results is requesting belief, while speaking after results is demonstrating reality. The same words carry entirely different weight, depending on when they're spoken. Before completion, your words are promises. After completion, your words are explanations of what already exists. Promises can be broken. Explanations of facts cannot be refuted. Here is how to time the reveal strategically. The reveal is not an afterthought. The reveal is a strategic moment that should be planned as carefully as the building itself. When you have worked in silence and produced something real, you control the timing of visibility. You choose when the world sees what you have built. This control is power. Use it wisely. Reveal when the result is strong enough to stand on its own. Not when it is almost complete. Not when it still needs defending. When it is finished. When it requires no explanation to demonstrate its value. When someone encountering it for the first time can immediately see what it is and why it matters. Premature revelation reintroduces all the problems of announced intentions. The result must be undeniable before you make it visible. Reveal when revelation serves the result rather than your need for recognition. The urge to reveal often comes from wanting validation rather than from strategic timing. You want people to see. You want recognition for your work. This urge is the same announcement addiction that has sabotaged your plans before. Do not let it determine timing. Reveal when revelation advances your objectives, not when revelation satisfies your craving for acknowledgement. Reveal in ways that let the result speak for itself. Do not over-explain. Do not justify excessively. Do not seek approval through your presentation. Present the result and allow it to do what results do. Convince through existence. Persuade through reality. Demonstrate through undeniable fact. Your words after completion should be minimal because the result needs no amplification. It speaks loudly enough on its own. You have a choice. Control the reveal strategically or let your urge for recognition determine timing. The strategic approach waits until the result is ready, chooses moments that maximize impact, and presents with restraint that lets the result dominate. The uncontrolled approach reveals too early, chooses moments based on internal craving rather than external strategy, and over-explains in ways that undermine the power of what has been achieved. Here is what changes when you let results speak. First, your credibility compounds. Each result that follows silent building adds to your reputation. People learn that you produce, that your silence leads to achievement, that your invisibility precedes impressive visibility. Over time, your silence itself becomes signal. It tells people that something is being built even when they do not know what. Your reputation becomes that of someone who delivers rather than someone who announces. Second, your leverage increases. Results provide negotiating power that plans cannot. The completed book attracts publishers in ways the announced intention never could. The built business attracts investors differently than the planned business. The achieved position attracts opportunities differently than the pursued position. Results demonstrate capability. Demonstrated capability creates leverage. Third, your competition diminishes. Many competitors will announce and never complete. They will reveal their plans and then fail to execute. Your silence during their announcement and your result after their failure positions you uniquely. You are not one of the many who talk. You are one of the few who produce. The competitive field clears as announcers fall away and only builders remain. Your results will speak louder than your plans. They will speak to doubters who could not be convinced by words. They will speak to competitors who underestimated your invisible progress. They will speak to opportunities that would never have appeared from mere intentions. Let them speak. Stop trying to speak for them. Build in silence until you have something that needs no speaking for. Then let the result make all the noise that needs to be made. You understand now the hierarchy of communication. You see how results command what plans cannot. You recognize the strategic timing of revelation. But building in silence requires energy. Energy that visibility drains through constant management and justification. The energy you save through silence is energy available for building. Chapter 7. Protect your energy from premature exposure. Your energy is finite. Every day you wake with a limited supply. Every hour you spend depletes that supply. Every demand on your attention drains from that supply. And you have been wasting enormous amounts of this precious resource on premature exposure, on explaining plans that do not yet need explaining, on defending decisions that do not yet need defending, on managing expectations that you should never have created, on justifying directions that require no justification to anyone but yourself. This energy wasted on premature visibility is energy stolen from the building that actually matters. And you cannot afford to keep paying this cost. Here is what you need to understand. Every plan revealed requires energy to maintain. The moment you share a plan, you create obligations. Obligations to update. Obligations to explain. Obligations to respond to questions. Obligations to address concerns. Obligations to manage the expectations you created by revealing in the first place. None of these obligations would exist if you had remained silent. All of them exist because you spoke, and every one of them costs energy that should be flowing into execution. That is the key. Every explanation is energy stolen from execution. The hour you spend explaining your approach to someone who questioned it is an hour not spent improving your approach. The conversation defending your timeline is time not spent working toward your timeline. The mental energy devoted to managing someone's concerns is mental energy not devoted to addressing actual challenges. The exchange seems harmless. A conversation here, an explanation there, but the accumulation is devastating. The energy bleeds out through 1,000 small cuts of premature visibility. Think about what happens when you share your plans. The sharing seems costless. A conversation, a message, a post. But the cost begins immediately and continues indefinitely. The person you told now has opinions. They express those opinions. You receive those opinions. You process those opinions. You respond to those opinions. Perhaps you defend against those opinions. Perhaps you incorporate those opinions. Perhaps you simply manage the emotional impact of those opinions. Every step costs energy. Energy you did not have to spend. Energy you only spent because you revealed what could have remained hidden. And the cost compounds. One person told becomes expectations created. Expectations become questions about progress. Questions become explanations. Explanations become further questions. Further questions become further explanations. The cycle continues as long as the plan remains incomplete. Each revolution of the cycle costs more energy. Energy that accumulates into a staggering sum over the life of any significant project. Energy that silent builders never have to pay because they never initiated the cycle by revealing in the first place. You have a choice. Continue revealing and continue paying the energy tax that revelation imposes, or remain silent and redirect that energy into the building itself. One path seems more connected, more transparent, more aligned with modern expectations of sharing. The other path seems isolated, secretive, perhaps antisocial. But the isolated path preserves energy. The secretive path protects resources. The antisocial path produces results because the energy flows into production rather than leaking into explanation. Here is the exhaustion of constant justification. When people know your plans, they feel entitled to understand your plans. They want to know why you chose this direction, why you set that timeline, why you made this decision, why you did not make a different decision. Their curiosity is endless. Their questions are infinite. And each question demands your energy to answer, not just the time to respond, the mental energy to formulate the response, the emotional energy to manage their reaction to your response, the attention diverted from your work to their interest. Consider how this accumulates. Your plans are known to 10 people. Each person has questions. Each question requires energy to answer. Some questions lead to concerns. Concerns require more energy to address. Some concerns are not resolved by your address. They persist and generate more questions. More questions require more energy. The 10 people multiply into dozens of conversations. The dozens of conversations consume hours that become days. The days become weeks over the life of the project. Weeks of your finite energy devoted not to building, but to managing the visibility you created. Now multiply this across every project, every goal, every plan you have ever revealed. The energy spent on management rather than execution is staggering. The lost productivity is enormous. The results that would have existed if that energy had flowed into building rather than explaining represent opportunities permanently lost. You cannot recover the energy already spent on premature exposure, but you can stop spending more of it starting now. That is the key. Visibility is not free. Visibility costs resources that building requires. You have been treating visibility as neutral, as merely a choice about whether to share. But visibility carries an energy price tag that you pay in currency desperately needed elsewhere. The price is hidden until you calculate it. Once calculated, the cost becomes impossible to ignore. It is not about becoming completely isolated. It is about recognizing the cost of each visibility choice and making that choice deliberately rather than automatically. Some visibility serves your interests. Some explanation is worthwhile. Some energy spent on external management produces returns that justify the investment. But most visibility does not serve your interests. Most explanation is not worthwhile. Most energy spent on management produces no return. The discipline is distinguishing between visibility that serves and visibility that only costs. Here is how energy is preserved through secrecy. When plans are private, no explanations are required. No one knows about the plan. Therefore, no one expects updates about the plan. No one questions the plan. No one challenges the plan. No one requires reassurance about the plan. The energy that would have been consumed by these external demands remains available for internal investment. The building proceeds uninterrupted by the management overhead that visibility creates. Consider what this means practically. You wake up. You have energy for the day. In the visible scenario, a portion of that energy immediately flows toward managing expectations, responding to questions that arrived overnight, preparing for conversations you know will occur, thinking about how to present progress that may or may not satisfy the people who are watching. Before you begin building, you have already spent building resources on management. In an invisible scenario, you wake up with the same energy, but none of it flows toward management because there's nothing to manage. No one is watching. No one is asking. No one expects anything because no one knows anything. Your full energy is available for building. The work begins immediately and continues without interruption. The day produces more because visibility is not extracting its tax. This difference compounds dramatically over time. A 10% energy savings daily becomes massive over a year-long project. A 20% savings becomes transformational. The silent builder who invests all available energy into building outproduces the visible builder who loses portions to management. The gap widens with each passing day. The results diverge increasingly as the project continues. By completion, the difference is often the difference between completion and abandonment. You have a choice. Continue allowing visibility to extract its energy tax and continue underproducing relative to your potential. Or protect your energy through strategic silence and discover your actual capacity when all resources flow toward building. The protection requires discipline. The discipline requires recognizing the cost that visibility imposes. Once the cost is recognized, the discipline becomes easier. You're not being secretive for its own sake. You are being efficient with resources that are demonstrably limited. Here is the protocol for energy preservation. First, recognize that every revelation creates ongoing costs. Before sharing any plan, calculate the likely energy expenditure, the conversations that will follow, the questions that will arise, the explanations that will be required, the expectations that will need managing. Is the benefit of sharing worth this cost? Often the answer is no. Often the revelation provides less value than it costs in ongoing energy expenditure. Second, consolidate necessary visibility. Some visibility cannot be avoided. Some people must know some things for legitimate reasons. When visibility is necessary, consolidate it. Reduce the number of people who know. Reduce the frequency of updates required. Reduce the detail provided to the minimum necessary. Each reduction preserves energy for building. Third, set boundaries around visibility. When people know your plans, their questions are unlimited. Your responses do not have to be. Establish limits on explanations. Decide in advance how much energy you will invest in management. When the budget is spent, stop spending regardless of remaining questions. Your energy belongs to your building, not to others' curiosity. Fourth, guard transition moments especially. The beginning of a new project is when premature exposure is most tempting and most costly. The energy tax begins at revelation and continues until completion. Early revelation means longer payment of the tax. Protect the early stages most carefully. Reveal only when the project has progressed enough that the remaining tax is manageable. Your energy is your most precious resource. It is finite. It is irreplaceable. It is the raw material from which all achievement is constructed. You have been leaking this resource through premature exposure that served no purpose except satisfying the urge to share. The leak stops now. The energy stays inside. The building receives what the visibility was stealing. You understand now that visibility costs energy. You see the exhaustion that constant justification creates. You recognize the preservation that silence enables. But energy preservation is not the only advantage of strategic silence. In competitive environments, silence provides tactical advantage that visibility surrenders entirely. Chapter 8. The Silent Advantage in Competition. You are in competition, whether you acknowledge it or not, whether you like it or not. Resources are limited. Positions are scarce. Opportunities are finite. And others want what you want. They're pursuing the same goals, seeking the same positions, chasing the same opportunities. This is not paranoia. This is reality. And in this competitive reality, information is weapon. What others know about your plans can be used against you. What they do not know cannot be countered. You have been handing weapons to your competitors by revealing your intentions. You have been surrendering advantage with every announcement. In competition, silence is strategy. And you have been strategically illiterate. Here is what you need to understand. In any competitive environment, information about intentions is strategic. Military commanders understand this. Business strategists understand this. Athletes understand this. The person who reveals their plans gives their opponent time to prepare, time to counter, time to position against the revealed intention. The person who conceals their plans arrives before defense can form, strikes before opposition can organize, achieves before competition can respond. Information asymmetry is advantage. You have been creating symmetry when asymmetry would serve you. That is the key. Reveal nothing. Achieve everything. This is not just philosophy. This is operational principle. What you reveal can be countered. What you conceal cannot. What you announce can be competed against. What you build in silence arrives as accomplished fact. The gap between your awareness and others' awareness is your tactical advantage. Closing that gap through revelation surrenders the advantage. Maintaining that gap through silence preserves it. Think about what happens when you reveal your career plans. You want a specific position. You announce your intention. Now everyone knows, including others who might want that position but had not considered pursuing it until you made it visible, including people who will compete more aggressively now that they know you are competing, including the person currently in that role who now knows you are coming for their position, including people who benefit from you not advancing and now know to work against your advancement. The announcement armed everyone. The silence would have armed no one. Now consider if you had remained silent. You want the position. You work toward it. You develop the skills required. You build the relationships necessary. You position yourself advantageously. No one knows your specific target. No competition forms around your specific goal. No opposition organizes against your specific intention. You arrive at the opportunity with preparation complete and competitors unaware. The position is pursued and often captured before others realize it was available to be captured. You have a choice. Continue revealing your competitive intentions and continue arming those who compete against you, or adopt strategic silence and discover the advantage of moving without announcing. One path feels more open, more transparent, more aligned with values of honesty and directness. The other path feels secretive, perhaps manipulative, perhaps inconsistent with how you want to see yourself. But the secretive path wins. The silent path captures what the announced path alerts everyone to defend against. Here is how silence creates strategic surprise. When you move without announcing, you arrive before anyone can prepare. The opportunity is captured before competitors realize it was available. The position is taken before opposition can form. The achievement is complete before anyone knew to prevent it. Surprise is a strategic advantage that announcement eliminates entirely. You cannot surprise someone who knows you're coming. You cannot catch unaware someone you have warned. Consider the entrepreneur who builds in silence. They identify an opportunity. They develop a solution. They build a product. They prepare for market. No announcements. No public development. No documentation of their journey. Competitors remain unaware. The market remains open. The opportunity remains uncontested. Then they launch. The product arrives fully formed. Competitors who would have raced to beat them had no chance to race. They did not know a race was occurring. The silent builder captured the market before the market knew it was being pursued. Consider the professional who advances in silence. They develop skills privately. They build relationships strategically. They position themselves carefully. No announcements about their ambitions. No broadcasting of their development. Colleagues remain unaware of how prepared they have become. When opportunity arrives, they are ready while others are not. The promotion goes to the person who is silently prepared, not to the person who announced their pursuit and triggered competitive positioning against them. That is the key. Surprise multiplies capability. The same skill, the same preparation, the same readiness produces better results when it arrives as surprise than when it arrives as expected. Announcement eliminates surprise. Announcement tells everyone to prepare for your arrival. Announcement gives competition time to organize. Silence preserves surprise. Silence allows arrival before preparation can occur. Silence produces results that announcement would have prevented. It is not about deceiving people. It is about not volunteering information that disadvantages you. There is a difference between lying about your intentions and simply not disclosing them. You do not owe competitors knowledge of your plans. You do not owe rivals information about your direction. You do not owe the world awareness of your goals. Silence is not deception. Silence is simply the absence of announcement, and that absence creates advantage that announcement surrenders. Here is the advanced practice of misdirection and strategic ambiguity. Those who master competitive silence do not merely hide their plans. They actively create uncertainty. They suggest directions they have no intention of pursuing. They allow assumptions to form that serve their actual goals. They let competitors prepare for moves that will never come while the actual moves proceed undetected. Consider what this looks like. You're pursuing goal A. You allow people to believe you're pursuing goal B. They position against goal B. They prepare to compete on goal B. They allocate resources to defend against your apparent direction. Meanwhile, you move toward goal A unopposed. Their defenses are in the wrong place. Their preparation was for the wrong fight. Their competition was against a phantom. You arrive at goal while they were watching goal B. This is not lying if done correctly. You do not have to claim you're pursuing goal B. You simply allow the assumption to form. You do not correct the misunderstanding. You let ambiguity work in your favor. You answer questions vaguely enough that conclusions can be drawn incorrectly. The misdirection happens through what you do not say rather than what you do say. Silence creates the space for assumptions. Assumptions can be strategically cultivated without deception. You have a choice. Use only concealment and gain the advantage of surprise. Or use concealment combined with strategic ambiguity and gain the additional advantage of misdirected competition. The first approach is simpler. The second approach is more powerful. Both are superior to the announcement strategy you have been using. Both produce better competitive results than revealing your true intentions to everyone who might oppose them. Here is the protocol for competitive silence. First, identify everyone who might compete with your goals. Not just obvious competitors. Anyone who benefits from your failure. Anyone who seeks what you seek. Anyone whose interests diverge from yours. These are people who should not have information about your plans. These are people whose knowledge of your intentions disadvantages you. Second, assess information flow. How might your plans reach competitors even if you do not tell them directly? Through mutual connections. Through social media. Through industry networks. Through careless conversation with people who talk to competitors. Map the pathways through which information might flow and close as many as possible. Third, practice strategic vagueness. When asked about your plans, you do not have to lie. You also do not have to provide accurate detail. Vague answers satisfy questions without providing useful intelligence. General statements seem responsive without revealing specifics. Master the art of appearing to answer while actually revealing nothing. This skill protects you in conversations where silence would seem suspicious. Fourth, monitor for leaks. Information about your plans may escape despite your precautions. Monitor what competitors seem to know. Monitor how others behave toward you. If behavior suggests they know things you did not reveal, investigate the source. Close the leak. Adjust your security accordingly. Competition is reality. Advantage matters in competition. Silence provides advantage. You have been surrendering advantage through announcement. The surrender stops now. Your plans become protected information. Your intentions become strategic assets. Your direction becomes visible only when visibility no longer threatens it. You understand now that competition requires information control. You see how silence creates surprise and misdirection creates additional advantage. You recognize the protocols for competitive silence. But all of these strategies require discipline. The discipline to keep your mouth closed when opening it feels natural. The discipline of closed lips must be built deliberately. Chapter 9. Build the discipline of closed lips. Silence is difficult. Everything in you wants to talk, to share, to announce, to receive the immediate reward of social engagement with your plans. This urge is powerful. This urge is constant. This urge has been conditioned into you through years of social media training, through a lifetime of being rewarded for sharing, through deep human instincts for connection and validation. Fighting this urge requires discipline, not occasional discipline, constant discipline. The discipline of closed lips that must be built deliberately, maintained actively, and defended against the relentless pressure to speak. Here is what you need to understand. The urge to share is not neutral. It feels natural. It feels harmless. It feels like simply being human. But the urge is working against you. Every time you follow the urge, you sacrifice something. Strategic advantage, energy preservation, protection from doubt, the hunger that achievement requires. The urge feels like a friend offering connection. The urge is an enemy offering sabotage disguised as social reward. That is the key. Discipline your tongue, or your tongue will discipline you. This is the fundamental truth of strategic silence. Either you control what you say, or what you say controls you. Either you choose your revelations deliberately, or you reveal compulsively and suffer the consequences. There is no middle ground. There is no casual approach that works. The urge to share is too strong for casual resistance. Only deliberate discipline can counter it. Think about what happens when you lack this discipline. A goal forms. Excitement arises. The urge to share follows immediately. Without discipline, you follow the urge. You tell someone. You post something. You make the plan visible. And the cascade of consequences begins. Premature satisfaction, energy expenditure, doubt infection, competitive disadvantage. All of it flows from one moment of undisciplined speech. One failure to close your lips when closing them would have served you. Now multiply that moment by every goal you have ever had, every plan you have ever formed, every direction you have ever considered. Each time, the urge arose and the discipline failed. Each time, the consequences accumulated. The sum of these failures is the gap between where you are and where you could be. The sum is goals that dissolved instead of materialized. The sum is a life less accomplished than it should be, because you could not keep your mouth closed when closing it was required. You have a choice. Continue allowing the urge to control your speech and continue paying the cost that uncontrolled speech imposes. Or build the discipline to close your lips and discover what becomes possible when you stop sabotaging yourself through compulsive sharing. One path is easier moment to moment. Following the urge feels natural. The other path is harder moment to moment. Resisting the urge requires effort. But only one path produces results. The easy path produces only the temporary relief of scratched urges. Here is why silence is so difficult. You have been trained for sharing. Social media platforms are designed to encourage sharing. Every like reinforces sharing. Every comment rewards sharing. Every notification trains you to share more. You have spent years in an environment optimized to make you share everything. The conditioning is deep. The habit is strong. The neural pathways are well established. Fighting this conditioning is not trivial. It requires recognition of what you are fighting and deliberate effort to fight it. Beyond conditioning, there are instincts. Humans evolved in small groups where sharing information built trust and alliance. Keeping secrets could be dangerous in tribal environments where survival depended on group cohesion. The instinct to share served your ancestors well. The instinct does not serve you well in modern environments where sharing often disadvantages you. The instinct persists because evolution is slow. The environment has changed faster than your brain has adapted. Beyond instincts, there's the simple pleasure of talking about yourself. Studies show that self-disclosure activates reward centers in the brain. Talking about your plans feels good neurologically. The brain rewards you for sharing. Fighting this internal reward system requires discipline that opposes your own neurology. You're not just fighting habit. You're fighting brain chemistry designed to make sharing pleasurable. That is the key. You're fighting conditioning, instinct, and neurology simultaneously. Understanding what you are fighting is essential. Without understanding, you'll underestimate the difficulty. You'll expect willpower alone to suffice. Willpower alone will not suffice. Willpower depletes. Willpower fails under sustained pressure. Only discipline built into systems and habits can counter forces this powerful. It is not about perfect silence. It is about strategic silence. You will speak. You will share some things. You will reveal when revelation serves you. The discipline is not about never opening your mouth. The discipline is about opening your mouth only when opening it serves your interests. About choosing when to speak rather than being compelled to speak. About controlling revelation rather than being controlled by the urge to reveal. Here is the protocol for building this discipline. First, create a delay between urge and action. When the urge to share arises, do not act on it immediately. Wait. 24 hours minimum for significant plans. Longer for more important goals. The delay creates space for the urge to diminish. The urgency that feels overwhelming in the moment often fades with time. What seemed essential to share today often seems unnecessary tomorrow. The delay reveals which sharing is truly strategic and which is merely compulsive. Second, question every potential revelation. Before sharing anything about your plans, ask specific questions. Who benefits from this sharing? If the answer is only you through social reward, the sharing is likely unwise. What could go wrong if this information spreads? If the answer includes competitive disadvantage, doubt infection, or energy expenditure, the sharing is likely unwise. Will this sharing advance the goal or just provide temporary satisfaction? If the answer is temporary satisfaction, the sharing is definitely unwise. Let the questions filter what gets through. Third, create alternative outlets for the urge. The urge to share is energy-seeking expression. If you simply suppress it, the suppression becomes exhausting. Instead, redirect it. Write about your plans privately. Talk to yourself. Journal extensively. Record voice memos that no one will hear. These outlets allow the expressive energy to flow without the costs of public revelation. The urge is satisfied without the strategic sacrifice. Fourth, find accountability without broadcasting. You may need external accountability for certain goals. This does not require public announcement. Find one trusted person, someone who will ask about your progress without introducing doubt, someone who will hold you accountable without spreading information. This selective sharing provides accountability while preserving most of the benefits of silence. One person is not a broadcast. One person is a strategic choice. Fifth, practice in low-stakes situations. Before you need to stay silent about important plans, practice staying silent about unimportant ones. Resist the urge to share minor things. Notice when you are about to speak about yourself and choose not to. Build the muscle of silence in situations where the cost of failure is low. When high-stakes silence is required, the muscle will be trained and ready. You have a choice. Implement these protocols and build genuine discipline over your speech. Or continue hoping willpower will be enough and continue failing when willpower depletes. The protocols require consistent application. The discipline requires ongoing maintenance. But the result is worth the investment. The result is the ability to keep your mouth closed when opening it would cost you. Here is what changes when you build this discipline. First, your strategic capability increases. You become able to pursue goals without advertising them. You become able to build without broadcasting. You become able to compete without warning competitors. The discipline unlocks strategies that are unavailable to those who cannot stop talking. Second, your energy efficiency improves. Without compulsive sharing, you stop wasting energy on management. The explanations stop. The justifications cease. The question answering ends. Your energy flows toward building rather than toward visibility maintenance. More gets done with the same resources because less is wasted on speech. Third, your confidence becomes more stable. Without constant exposure to external doubt, your belief in your plan stays intact. You stop experiencing the roller coaster of confidence that sharing creates. Up when people approve, down when people question. Without the sharing, there is no roller coaster. Your confidence becomes steady because nothing external is disturbing it. Fourth, your identity shifts. You become someone who is known for results rather than someone known for announcements. You become someone who surprises rather than someone who telegraphs. You become someone who builds in silence and arrives with achievement. This identity shift affects how others perceive you and how you perceive yourself. You become someone who simply does not announce. Not because you are withholding, because announcing is not what you do. The discipline of closed lips is not easy to build. The forces working against you are powerful. Conditioning, instinct, neurology, the habit of a lifetime. But the discipline can be built through protocols applied consistently, through practice in low-stakes situations, through understanding what you are fighting and why the fight matters. The discipline transforms what is possible. The discipline makes silence sustainable. The discipline turns what you have learned in this audiobook from interesting ideas into operational practice. You understand now why silence is difficult. You see the forces working against you. You have protocols for building discipline. But discipline serves a purpose. Silence serves a purpose. The purpose is winning. Winning in silence and letting success make all the noise that needs to be made. Chapter 10. Win in silence. Let success make the noise. You have learned 9 principles. 9 chapters of strategic silence. 9 ways to protect your goals, preserve your energy, and position yourself for success that announcement would have prevented. But learning is not winning. Understanding is not achieving. You can memorize every principle in this audiobook and remain exactly where you started if you do not integrate these lessons into action. The silent winner is not someone who knows about silence. The silent winner is someone who practices silence until silence produces victory. The question now is whether you will become that person. Whether you will win in silence, whether you will let success make all the noise that needs to be made. Here is what you need to understand. Everything you have learned connects into a single operating system. The announcement trap you avoid, the plan protection you maintain, the premature satisfaction you prevent, the doubt infection you escape, the mystery you cultivate, the results you let speak, the energy you preserve, the competitive advantage you secure. The discipline you build. Each element supports the others. Each principle reinforces the rest. Together, they form an approach to achievement that most people will never discover because most people cannot stop talking long enough to discover it. That is the key. Build in whispers. Arrive in thunder. This is the complete philosophy compressed into 6 words. The building is silent. The arrival is loud. The work happens in darkness. The results emerge into undeniable light. The process is invisible. The outcome is impossible to ignore. You do not announce your construction. You reveal your completed structure. You do not broadcast your journey. You present your destination. The whispers are for building. The thunder is for arrival. Think about what this looks like in practice. You identify a goal. In the old way, you announce it. You would tell people. You would post about it. You would invite the cascade of consequences that announcement creates. But now you operate differently. The goal forms and you tell no one. The plan develops and you share nothing. The work begins and it remains invisible. Day after day, progress accumulates without witness. Week after week, building continues without broadcast. Month after month, achievement approaches without announcement. Then the goal is achieved. The work is complete. The building is finished. And now, only now, does visibility occur. Not the visibility of announced intention. The visibility of accomplished fact. Not asking people to believe in your plans. Showing people what your plans produced. Not requesting recognition for what you hope to do. Demonstrating what you have already done. The thunder arrives. And because it arrives after silent building, it arrives with maximum impact. Surprise amplifies the achievement. The result speaks with volume that announcement could never have matched. You have a choice. Operate the old way, announcing and managing and explaining and defending, and continue producing the results that approach has always produced. Or operate the new way, building silently and arriving with completed achievement, and discover results you have never experienced because you have never tried this approach. One path is familiar, comfortable in its familiarity, even though it consistently underperforms. The other path is unfamiliar, uncomfortable in its strangeness, even though it consistently outperforms. Choose the path that produces what you actually want, not the path that feels most natural. Here is the moment of reveal. Eventually, silent building produces results that warrant visibility. The work is done. The achievement is real. The construction is complete. This is the moment you have been building toward. The moment when silence gives way to thunder. The moment when invisibility transforms into undeniable presence. How you handle this moment matters. Handle it correctly, and you maximize the impact of everything you built in silence. Reveal without arrogance. The temptation after silent success is to gloat, to emphasize how wrong the doubters would have been if you had given them the chance to doubt, to highlight how much you accomplished while others were merely talking. Resist this temptation. Arrogance diminishes rather than amplifies. The achievement speaks for itself. You do not need to add commentary that turns admiration into resentment. Let the result make the noise. You make no noise about making the noise. Accept recognition without addiction. Recognition will come when results appear. People will acknowledge what you accomplished. Praise will arrive. Validation will flow. Accept it graciously. Do not reject it falsely, but do not become addicted to it. The addiction to recognition is exactly what created the announcement problem in the first place. If you become dependent on the recognition that results produce, you will eventually start seeking recognition before results. You will slide back into announcement. Accept recognition as a pleasant byproduct. Do not let it become the goal. Return to silence for the next building phase. The reveal is not the end. The reveal is a moment in an ongoing cycle. After the reveal comes the next goal, the next silent building phase, the next period of invisible progress. The cycle continues for as long as you want to achieve. Success does not graduate you from silence. Success demonstrates that silence works. Success reinforces the approach. Success sends you back into the darkness to build again. That is the key. Silent winning is not a single event. Silent winning is a way of operating, a continuous cycle of invisible building and visible results. The silence is where the work happens. The noise is where the results appear. Then more silence. Then more noise. The pattern repeats as long as achievement continues. It is not about one victory. It is about a lifetime of victories produced through the same approach. Each cycle of silent building and visible result reinforces the next. Your reputation becomes that of someone who produces rather than someone who announces. Your identity becomes that of a builder rather than a broadcaster. Your results accumulate into a body of achievement that speaks with collective thunder louder than any single accomplishment could generate. Here is what the life of the silent winner looks like. Peace during building. The anxiety of managing external expectations is absent. The exhaustion of constant explanation is gone. The pressure of premature visibility does not exist. The building happens in calm, in focus, in a productive space that silence creates. The building phase is not just more effective. It is more enjoyable, free from the noise that visibility creates. Power at arrival. When results emerge, they emerge with impact. The surprise amplifies. The completion impresses. The undeniable fact of achievement commands attention that announced intentions never could. The arrival phase is powerful precisely because the building phase was silent. The contrast between invisibility and visibility creates impact. The gap between unknown and known produces response. Satisfaction and cycle. The silent winner experiences a satisfaction unavailable to the announcer. The satisfaction of knowing they can produce without external validation. The satisfaction of achieving without needing permission. The satisfaction of winning without requiring witnesses. This internal satisfaction is more stable than the external validation announcers chase. It does not depend on others responding correctly. It depends only on you continuing to build and complete. Consider what this means for your future. Every goal you pursue from this point forward can be pursued silently. Every plan can be protected. Every building phase can be invisible. Every arrival can carry the thunder of completed achievement rather than the whimper of announced intention. The approach is available. The principles are understood. The discipline can be built. What remains is application. What remains is you operating differently starting now. You have a choice, not a single choice. A continuous choice made in every moment where the urge to announce arises. In every conversation where sharing seems natural. In every situation where visibility feels expected. Each moment offers the choice between the old way and the new way. Between announcement and silence. Between revealing and protecting. Between asking for recognition and commanding it through results. The silent path is not easier. The silent path requires discipline that the announcement path does not. The silent path demands that you resist urges the announcement path indulges. The silent path asks you to delay gratification that the announcement path provides immediately. But the silent path produces. The silent path achieves. The silent path transforms potential into accomplishment in ways the announcement path never could. Here is your challenge. Starting now, you operate differently. The next goal you set, you tell no one. The next plan you form, you protect completely. The next building phase, you conduct in total invisibility. You apply everything you have learned. The announcement trap, the plan protection, the premature satisfaction prevention, the doubt immunity, the mystery cultivation, the result focus, the energy preservation, the competitive silence, the closed lip discipline, all of it, applied consistently, starting immediately. Stop telling people what you are going to do. The telling is over. The doing begins in silence. Stop seeking validation for plans that require execution, not applause. The seeking is over. The execution proceeds without audience. Stop giving away the strategic advantage that silence provides. The giving is over. The advantage is retained and deployed. Start building in secret. Start achieving in shadow. Start letting your results create all the noise that matters. Win in silence. Let success make the noise. The building begins now, and no one will know until the thunder arrives. You have learned 10 truths about winning in silence. You have learned that your mouth is your greatest enemy, that every plan revealed is compromised, that announcements generate premature satisfaction, which steals the hunger necessary to achieve success. You have learned that doubt is contagious and that silence is your vaccine. That mystery generates freedom, while transparency generates restrictions. That results speak louder than plans ever could. You have learned to protect your energy from the cost of premature exposure, to use silence as a competitive advantage in all areas, to build the discipline to keep your lips sealed, which makes strategic silence sustainable. And you have learned that winning in silence means letting success make all the noise that needs to be made. But here's what matters now. Tomorrow you will be tempted to speak, to announce, to share, to seek the premature validation that sabotaged your goals. And at that moment, you will have a choice. Speak and sacrifice your advantage, or remain silent and protect your potential. The successful path is the quiet path. The path of building without broadcasting. The path of doing without declaring. The path of achieving without announcing until achievement makes announcement unnecessary. Stop telling people what you are going to do. Stop seeking validation for plans that require execution, not applause. Stop giving away the strategic advantage that silence provides. Start building in secret. Start achieving in shadow. Start letting your results create all the noise that matters. Win in silence. Let success make the noise.